Hello everyone, this is Max Carroll, and today I'm going to be reviewing another figure. It's a Bandai Creations figure, if you could believe that. Um, it's actually my first figure I have of a major character. And truth be told, it's of Godzilla's greatest enemy, and certainly one of my most nostalgic figures. It is of the Bandai Creations re-release, actually, of GMK King Ghidorah from 2001's GMK Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, one of my favorite movies from the Godzilla franchise. History. This is actually my second version. Let me go get my second figure. My second of this figure. Let me go get my first version. Okay, it seems I cannot find it right now, but I will find it. It has a different paint scheme, and I did a mod to it. A friend actually gave this to me. Very fortunate to have another version, and yeah. History. This figure, well, this design, made an appearance in 2001's Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah Giant Monsters All Out Attack, often abbreviated as GMK. In the film, Ghidorah, this is his only role as a hero. He was, I personally believe, the primary Daikaiju protagonist, and that is very, very unusual for King Ghidorah to be a protagonist, let alone the main one. Because he was actually, I believe, the toughest monster who went up against Godzilla in the movie. I mean, he gave Godzilla a hard time after he got the stone. And yeah. He briefly appeared in Yokohama when Mothra was fighting Godzilla. And Ghidorah was briefly knocked out. As everyone knows, he was briefly knocked out by Godzilla. And then Mothra tried to defend Ghidorah when he was about to be hit by Godzilla's atomic ray, but she got in the way and she was blown away over to another building. And then when Mothra was finally killed by Godzilla, her energy actually went into Ghidorah and revived him, and he became at least as powerful enough, or as powerful as Godzilla, and thus that gave him the ability to fight Godzilla. He was eventually killed. In case anyone wants to know, eventually Godzilla did kill all the Earth Guardians, or the Yamato Guardians, but yeah. Let's move on to the figure's detail. Like Godzilla 55, history, detail, articulation, scale, rating. Detail. This figure is actually really nice. Not as good, excuse me, hold on. Where's the pause? Alright. Just forget it. This figure. Not. One second. Shut up! Sorry, my dog. He, not as detailed as the original. Keep in mind, this is the 2014 60th anniversary re-release of King Ghidorah. Not a bad sculpt. Definitely a lot better pose than the Bandai Japan standard scale GMK King Ghidorah, which had a good mold, definitely the most detailed Ghidorah figure ever. But the pose was This figure, it's not exactly true to the movie, but it sports a more traditional pose than uh the Bandai Japan figure, and that's a good thing because I think that this figure would go very nicely in scale with, well, not nicely in scale, but it would at least look good with Heisei Godzilla, for instance. No Monster Island buddies, because this figure of King Ghidorah is on Monster Island buddies. This is the representation of King Ghidorah. But yeah, detailed. It's all gold, the same gold. I kind of have a problem with that. The mouth, not too happy with, to be honest. It's very pinkish, and it suffers from the same problem as Godzilla 68, which, admittedly, I like that figure even less. I do like this figure. It's just not my favorite King Ghidorah figure out there. My favorite has to be, I'm going to give another shout out to Super Godzilla 1974. The Showa King Ghidorah, the original Bandai 1984 or 88 or whatever, the Bandai Showa King Ghidorah, the standard scale version that goes very nicely in scale with the 6-inch figures. I actually want to get one to go in scale with Godzilla 74. So yeah, all gold. Got the teeth in pink. This is the closed mouth. I guess that kind of makes sense. The eyes, not too good. Well, they're very nice. I think on the original version, though, they were more of like cat eyes instead of the basic pupils. It's probably catching up a little bit nicer than I expected, though. I expected it to be very crappy and not so good. The mold is nice. It's definitely got, you know, the overall basic pattern of King Ghidorah down. The wings, it's the same thing on both sides. Just this big patch of scales, and then the wing itself, the membrane, carries over the back. He's got the, whatchamacallit, the spikes, or spines, spikes. They're spikes. Not, these are spines. They're jutting out of his back, and they're huge. These, if they're just like, these are spikes. Well, I guess they're kind of spines because spikes come up out of the ground. But, nah. He's got the spikes going all the way down his back, and it's on all 3 heads, except these 2 stop, like, I don't know if you can see that, but they stop, like, right there. Then they continue it down here. Spikes go on the tail. The horns. Keep in mind, this figure, I actually am happy I got a figure that is at least somewhat reminiscent, at least somewhat reminiscent of the Showa King Ghidorah, because keep in mind, the GMK King Ghidorah was modeled after the Showa King Ghidorah. Actually, the entire Millennium series is modeled after the Showa series. All the monsters, Mary Goji was modeled after King Goji. Sakugeki Goji was modeled after Shodai Goji. Kyu Goji was modeled after Mecha Goji. At least I believe so. And Final Goji looks like a hybrid of Gyakushu Goji, this guy, and Shoshingeki Goji from Destroy Monsters. But yeah, I am happy to have this. But yeah. Some say chicken feet, I say dragon feet, so shut up. The twin tails are, I would have at least liked it going, I don't know, like, up. I mean, it would have been, like, super hyper detailed, but I'm one of those guys who kind of has a problem with curved tails, except when liberties must be taken and stuff. I like this. It's kind of curved, but it's not so curved I don't like it. This, kind of don't like it, but I can live with it. I can let it slide. This, just to make it fit in the stupid box. Actually, this is how I had it. My original version. If you got it, it would have looked like this. That's right, would have came like this, and you would have had to turn it back. Speaking of the articulation and whatnot, on my original version, I did break the glue seals, or more or less, I chopped off the heads to make articulation. If the glue seals were not here, he would have a lot of quite a bit of articulation for a Bandai figure. One, the heads would have been able to move left and right, all three of them. The waist would have been able to move. That would have been a nice touch, Bandai America. This would have been a nice touch. But I hope that you can make a version where there are no glue seals, it's just attached, and it's firmly attached so it doesn't fall apart. Articulation that is actually articulation. The wings, they can move back and forth just like a basic Shoutout Ghidorah can. Actually, unlike the original version, which was like molded, think of it as this, just this position upside down. They can actually, it's not perfect, but it's serviceable. They can actually fold backward. I don't have a Bandai Japan Ghidorah, Heisei Ghidorah, but I do intend to get the original Movie Monster Series version soon, the dark gold version. This isn't perfect, but it's serviceable. It will definitely fit on your shelf nicer than if you had the wings like this. This is a nice pose, by the way. The tail, it rotates, but it rotates at this, like this. It doesn't rotate like it doesn't rotate like this. It doesn't rotate circular. It rotates at an angle. Now let's make it fit in the stupid box. I swear, Bandai America, I know that they're trying to differentiate themselves a little bit from Bandai Japan, but I don't know what the problem is with just giving it a tag or putting a full box over it so that, you know, and making the tail attachable. Scaling. Now I do not have the Bandai Creations GMK Godzilla, unfortunately. If I did, it would have made a good scale with this figure. But the closest I have, this is honestly the closest I have. Do not say, oh, Godzilla is the closest. No. This is the closest I have to a GMK Godzilla. Gyakushu Goji. Now, GMK, yeah, this is good scaling. Godzilla definitely was taller than King Ghidorah in the movie. But if you were looking at a regular scale, no. That's why the best way, if you want to have it as a regular scale, you have to have Ghidorah on his hind toes. About the same height. He's a little bit taller, but not serviceable enough. Let's try with Heisei Godzilla. He's even a bit more taller. This is a little bit better scaling, but I don't know. He should be up here. But that's just me. Last but not least, my 6-inch Bandai Godzilla vinyls. Godzilla 74, the first ever figure I scaled up this guy with. At the time, this was my only Bandai 6-inch figure, and it was my first. Again, like in my Godzilla 74 review, one hell of a figure to start with. He's taller. Again, probably the same way of this guy. Final rating and recommendations. This figure, I'm going to get a 3.5 out of 5. It's actually kind of a low score. It's okay. It's good. It's just not great. Not as recognizable or even significant as the Bandai Japan version, but at least this one has more of a traditional pose. and the Bandai Japan version has the more awkward pose. In my opinion, it looks like Only difference between this and the Japan version: A, the size, B, the pose, C, the articulation, and that was the most important difference between this and the Japan version. A, the Japan version can not only move at the heads if you have the glue seals broken, but it can move at the necks, the base of them. Something that had not been seen at this point in a while since the early Bandai days with the Bandai Japan Showa King Ghidorah. That is pretty pathetic. Mold's okay. Paint job, Bandai Creations has done better. I've seen better. Their re-release of Godzilla 54, yeah, it wasn't, I don't know, I prefer the first Bandai Creations Godzilla 54. It always seemed closer to the Movie Monster Series version, which I have to admit, the second release of that, with the dark gray vinyl and the light gray vinyl highlights, that is the greatest 6-inch Bandai Godzilla 54 figure ever, in my opinion. But, yeah, the flat gold, the over pink, not buck teeth. I don't say buck teeth. Kind of, but not really. But flat gold, two pink, red, white, black. Really? It's an adequate figure for what it is. I mean, if you're looking to get all the Bandai vinyl GMK figures that have articulation and that have the name Bandai on them, then you definitely are going to need either this or the. I would want to pick up the original version, except this one. It can do this. Something that the original release cannot do. But the original release has a darker gold color, which, while not accurate, looks better. But overall, 3 out of 5. Adequate for what it is. No Bandai Japan, but if you need a Bandai creation, or if you need basically, bottom line, if you need a King Ghidorah figure fast for whatever the hell reason, this is pretty much going to be your go-to figure. And unlike with this guy, where I'm going to say, find him now before he is rare, something I didn't say in my original review again. I'm going to re-review this guy and this guy. Get him now before he is rare, because I have seen him going for kind of outrageous prices on the internet. Bandai America is going to keep cranking out this figure until they make a new King Ghidorah mold. Then, I might say, get him now while he's rare. Serviceable. He actually fits in scale with the Hyper figures if you want a traditional scale. I have a couple, I'm not getting them out now. Maybe in another review I'll get this figure out and compare. Again, 3 out of 5. Not perfect. Not awful. Not terrible, terrible. Like, oh, it's the worst Bandai Ghidorah figure ever. I don't really think there's any bad King Ghidorah figure out there from Bandai Japan. All of them have been pretty good. The Bandai Showa one, the Bandai Heisei one, the Bandai Heisei remold, the Mecha remold, the Grand, the Des, the GMK, and the Kaiser. They've all been pretty good, but I think this one is, out of all the Bandai Japan, or Bandai figures, Bandai, not just Bandai Japan, Bandai Creations included, if I was to get all the Bandai King Ghidorah figures, including the original release of this guy, I would say that this release, the second release, would basically be at the bottom of the barrel. For me, at least. The top of the barrel would be the Showa Ghidorah. Sorry this was a long rant. Yeah, it was a rant. But I had a lot to say about Bandai Creations and how they should probably improve, but I hope that you liked it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.